On today's Resource Review ICT Special, we're looking at resources for secondary design and technology that could help you and your budding designers in the classroom. They are a series of interactive and encyclopedic CD-ROMs, a digital library of educational television clips, and a website that supports design and technology teaching. Recommending today's resources is Jonathon Boyle. Jonathon is Deputy Head Teacher and Head of Design and Technology at Walsall Academy. On the panel today is Alan Mills from the Specialist Schools and Academies Trust, and Peter Simmons, Head of Design and Technology at John Cabot City Technology College in Bristol, and Pete's been trying out the resources for us in his lessons. Now, over in the test lab, our resident ICT investigator Matthew Tosh will be putting the resources through their paces. Well, Jonathon, your first choice of resource for us today is a set of 7 CD-ROMs called Focus on Design Technology. Explain this resource to us and why you like it.
Well, Focus Educational are responsible for a super suite of resources for design and technology education. In particular, what I like about it is this: each title is achievable. You can work with your students in school and work through the contents of a CD-ROM, and they're laid out in such a way that they're very easy to navigate. Irrespective of whether you're working at Key Stage 1 or all the way through to 6th form, they've all got the same look and feel about them. Right, this one we're looking at here is Commercial Printing Processes. It's a graphic products title. If I give you a little look here and we go to look at the programme overview, if I click on here, we look at 3 particular printing processes which are of value at Key Stage 4 graphic products. So if I look at offset lithography, we've got ourselves video clips that we can see in 3 dimensions. It's a super way to be able to visualise the actual lithographic process. You can change the size of the font size. So if a child is going to be reading this who might be a bit younger, it's easier to look at as a whiteboard.
Is this something that's really very different from anything else that's on the market?
There are other applications available, but I think that this type of product, for the price it comes in at, represents incredible value for money.
OK, well, before we go any further, let's see what Matthew makes of Focus on Design Technology.
Have you ever wondered how a fairground ride works? Well, with the Focus on Fairground Ride CD-ROM, you can now find out. It's part of the Focus on Design Technology series of CD-ROMs. Now, our Fairground Rides application is essentially like a web browser. Some of the images you can click on and it brings up images in a bit more detail. And on the left-hand side, there's a 3-dimensional window. And not only is it 3-dimensional, it's actually animated. And I can start the animation by clicking on the green arrow here. And whilst the animation is running, I can manipulate the image like that. And I can even zoom in and out just to get a bit more detail so you can see a lot of the workings of the ride. And then once pupils have studied the various sections, they can take a short test using the test button here. And as you go through the questions, it's multiple choice. You get instant feedback on how you're doing, so it's a good learning tool. Now, the resistant materials application is slightly different in layout. This is essentially a database. And you can see on the left-hand side, you've got a list, different classes of materials. So if we have a look at man-made boards, then the box underneath will select MDF. That then brings up an information window in the middle describing the material and its properties, and on the right hand side we've got the different sizes and prices available. I can actually add it to a cutting list, so I can ask for 400mm by 200mm. We'll have 3 of those. You'll see it developing, so it's a great way to price projects before you actually go out and build them. There's a lot of information available here in this resource, and it can take a little while getting used to the different structures on each of the CD-ROMs. Having said that, they're fairly straightforward to use. Well, that completes our look at Focus on Design Technology. It's time to go back to our panel.
Well, Jonathon, it certainly looks like a very interesting resource, but a site licence for just one of the CDs is £160. So if you wanted all 7, it would be a hefty investment.
I think what you've got to do here is you've got to look at the range of titles that they do have on offer, and you can buy just one with a single licence and just use that one. It all depends on how you want to approach the course that you're teaching, whether it's for Key Stage 3 or Key Stage 4. It's down to teacher choice as to the applications that they choose.
OK. Well, Pete, how did you find Focus on Design Technology?
Well, I completely agree with what Jonathan's saying. It's great value for money. I've used it in the classroom quite extensively. It's a great opportunity to be able to show students certain processes which are very difficult to show if you don't have this piece of software. Here is showing an example of injection moulding. Now, you can slow the animation down, you can speed it up, you can stop it at certain aspects, you can copy and paste it. But with regards to the testing, you can actually test the students on certain aspects of this process. Now, if I was to change this slightly, I would give some feedback to the actual assessments itself. So, for example, if a student was to get 8 out of 10, I would like the software to be able to say exactly where he went wrong, possibly where to go and find and revise to do it again.
So, Jonathan, do you think the assessment side of this resource could be enhanced?
Yes, I think it's quite primary, the assessment aspect of it. I mean, what I'm most interested in is the actual content. The test is a nice little piece at the end, but probably something that I wouldn't spend too much time on.
Alan, what are your thoughts on this resource?
I think it's something that would be very, very useful, and it actually demonstrates the best way of using ICT in a practical subject. The examples are excellent, the way in which it's produced, and I do think it's good value, in fact, because you could use this anywhere to produce things that you just couldn't do in a practical sense very easily. So I think it's a really excellent way of using ICT to support what D&T is trying to do.
Well, fantastic. A very positive review of our first resource. Now let's move on to Jonathan's second choice of resource, and this is called Clipbank D&T. Tell us about this resource, Jonathan.
Clipbank D&T is based on the very successful Design and Technology CD-ROMs from Channel 4 Learning. What we've got in here is 250 clips from their programming for Design and Technology in 1 and 4 minute chunks between that time period. They highlight food technology, textiles, product design and so on. So if I wanted to know about toys, it will search and find for me the clips of video on toys. What makes it an absolutely super resource in your design and technology department is the ability to be able to capture MPEG-1 video clips of your own or free-to-air television and add them to this resource.
Right, so you can use the framework that it gives you and build it up yourself.
That's right, absolutely right. And it can become a very detailed library of video clips, and you can end up with a super resource for children from year 7 all the way through to 18.
All right, well, to find out a little bit more, let's go back to Matthew in the test lab.
Clipbank D&T is a collection of short videos which have been taken from longer programmes and catalogued according to theme and content. And you view them using the Clipbank Utilities programme, which I've got on the screen here. Now, to get ourselves started and find a clip, I'll click on the Browse button. And you can see our subject area here, and just clicking on here, you can see that they have been catalogued according to topics, themes, and then the QCA and GCSE schemes of work. Well, I want to go into topics, and we'll have a look at discussions with designers, and we find a clip, and to load the clip, you just double-click on the name. Now, if I click on the play button, it should start the video.
Now for the brainstorming today, sketch out on there or write out on there any ideas that you've got for something we could use with the sounder.
There are many ways the design could go.
Now if you want to capture a screenshot, you just use a screenshot button here and you can save images from your video, maybe for use in project work. Now the bit on the right hand side contains information about the description and context of the clip. You can have a look at the keywords relating to it. There's even a transcript of the video. And there's a link to any related clips on the DVD. At the bottom, you can copy any of the text from these boxes for use in other applications. But the really snazzy bit is the ability to copy the path of the video. So you're not restricted to viewing the video clips in the Clipbank Utilities programme. And just like a personal music player, if there's a series of clips you like, you can click on the button here to add to a playlist, and you can create playlists maybe for use in future lessons. And then on the right hand side, you've got a series of notes and attachments that you can add again to help you with your lesson planning. Well, that completes my look at Clipbank DT. It's time to go back to our panel.
Pete, what did you make of this resource?
Sadly, I'm going to have to agree with Jonathan once again.
Somebody else that loves it.
Yeah, this piece of software is so powerful. It has everything there which shows the students exactly what goes on in industry. Some of the movie clips on this software shows things which you just couldn't possibly show in the classroom. And it is a library of information, so the students can always access it. Okay, we currently have it on the server. It shows exactly what's happening right the way through the process, from the start, from initial concepts right the way through to the finished product.
So how did you use it?
I've used it with mainly Key Stage 5. I've showed, for example, how in industry, how they actually use cardboard to create models. Also, there's other clips on here, for example, there's an excellent clip on the design of a mountain bike, which the majority of the students in my classroom are really, really interested in. So they are focused on this and they know where it is on the server and they will go and look at it in their own time.
Well, Alan, I don't know what to say. These D&T teachers, they love this resource. What about you?
It's great to see the enthusiasm and obviously there with these students as well. I mean, the Clipbank series is excellent. It's great seeing these things available and being used so successfully in the classroom. I mean, it's the best use of ICT. ICT demonstration of something which you can't always do in the classroom. It's got to match in with the practical, but it's a resource and it's a fantastic resource.
OK, well, time now to move on to Jonathan's third choice of resource, and this is the website from TEP. Jonathan, explain this one to us.
It's very much a technical website for engineering and design and technology. One of the things here is an online clip art library. You'll choose from a selection of different categories. I, for example, at the moment am going to choose the one drawing. And in here, I can select any type of image that I might want to use. If I go to this option here, resources, and go down to publications, I can choose from any one of these books down here. So, for example, the Young Technologist's Handbook. And I've got access to an entire book, which is free to download and photocopy. It's an absolutely super resource.
There's just so much there, Jonathan, though. How are teachers going to have a hope of finding what they want and picking out the best stuff for them?
Well, this is a technical website and they do have to spend a little bit of time navigating the site. They have to do a bit of homework. You'll probably find that students who are going to be around 14, 15 and beyond A-level are going to have a better time with the website than younger children. But there are plenty of resources on here also for younger children as well.
All right, well, Pete, what did you make of this website?
Well, I share the enthusiasm for the Technology Enhancement Programme as a programme, but as for a teaching resource, it's what I find limited. However, I do find it as a resource for teachers very useful.
OK, Alan, what do you think of the TEP website?
There's an awful lot on there, and as it's free, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of opportunities for teachers to use it. I did find, I mean, purely from the point of view of going to it, I did find it a terrible mess. I mean, if just somebody looked at it and said, let's try and design this a little bit better, it may not matter in the end, but it's always nice when it's an attractive website, you feel welcomed. I didn't feel welcomed by that at all.
Well, thank you all very much. That's all we've got time for today. But just to recap, the three resources that we looked at were Focus on Design from Focus Educational Software Limited, Clipbank D&T from 4 Ventures Limited, and the TEP website from the Technology Enhancement Programme. For information on all of the resources we've featured today, go to our website. It's teachers.tv/resource review, or if you want to, email us, resourcereview@teachers.tv. A very big thank you to our panel, to Jonathan, to Pete and to Alan. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.